it doesn't all fall over. Hello, welcome to my live. So this is a big one. I do my best to be very mindful. Yes, I want to be transparent that this has to do with food advocacy. This has to do with the Make America Healthy Act that I have submitted to Oregon Senator Wyden's office. And this is going to be a longer live. If you want to come back to it later, I completely understand. Please let me know if you're watching this later. Send me a message. Let me know what country or where in America you're watching from. And this is a call to action. A call to action for all Oregonians and for all Americans to even reach out to your local senators as well, to ask Senator Wyden to present the Make America, Oregon U.S. Senator Wyden to present the Make America Healthy Act to Congress. I will get into details about the act, and I want to start with the story that led me to this live. Back in 2024, I ran for Oregon State Senate here in Pendleton, Oregon as a non-affiliated candidate. I did leave the Democratic Party because I chose to run non-affiliated. I didn't want to accept any PAC money. I wanted to accept $0, and I wanted to run with no party affiliation, to just stand in that space of bringing people together. And we had Republicans and independents and Democrats all meeting in parking lots, having conversations. I wanted to rise above the divide. When I gave a speech, June 17th, 2024, at the Pendleton Convention Center, I said that I would continue to advocate for food safety in America, and that is why I am doing this live. I want to give context on the story. Thank you so much for jumping on. I want to give context to what is leading me to this moment. And I am asking everybody who watches this to please share this live stream later, as well as the change.org petition. I have submitted the Make America Healthy Act to Oregon U.S. Senator Wyden to revise the FDA product approval process, giving companies 2 years to remove all hazardous ingredients, toxic ingredients tied to chronic disease and mental health. The context is, and I won't stay in it too long, I am going to talk about what got me to this live. I won't be interacting with comments right now because I want to get through the presentation. You are welcome to send me questions, or I'll read the comments later if you have comments along the way. This is a call to action that if you are jumping on and you are watching this, I am asking you to please consider signing the petition in the description, the change.org. I can't do this alone. And I am hoping that we can get to over 100,000 signatures on the Make America Healthy Act that I have submitted. Back in 2024, a friend from Georgia called me and told me about the Yucca app. I also want to be clear, I am not advocating for one app or the other. There's the Olive app for seed oils. There's Bobby Farish for consumer products. There is EWG you can be scanning with. And the Yucca app is particularly the app. I've interviewed Julie Chapon, the founder of the Yucca app, that has changed my life. I started scanning all my shampoo, skin lotion, sun lotion, food, toothpaste, and got rid of almost everything in my house. I've dropped down to 137 pounds from 177. I told my doctor, I could testify at a Senate committee hearing just based on my blood work. I threw metformin in the garbage. I changed my entire eating to conscious eating and scanning, and I'm frustrated because as an American, I shouldn't have to go to Walmart and Safeway. I have spent 30 hours scanning our consumer products. I told myself to, so I'm going to stay grounded through this live, but this is very serious. And so what happened was in 2024, I spoke at Oregon Senator Merkley's town hall at the Governance Center on the Umatilla Indian Reservation. And And I just a bit of my background. I've had 2 studios. I hosted the first yoga festival in the state of Oregon for 7 years called the Yoga Roundup. I won the National Indian Health Board Award for local area impact. I worked for 2 years as a lifestyle coach at Yellowhawk Tribal Health Center, and I've worked with over 100 clients lowering A1C by shifting to healthy lifestyle change. I hosted and produced a radio show on KCUW radio that was called Wellness Works, which was all about how people were lowering their A1C levels by with healthy lifestyle. And thank you for understanding that I won't be responding to questions right now because I really want to get all of this out. And I thank you so much. I need your help. I can't do this alone anymore. I've been advocating, and this is my call for help. This is my call to action to all Americans to consider signing the change.org petition for the Make America Healthy Act that I've submitted to Oregon Senator Wyden. So here's what happened was I went to Senator Merkley's town hall and I spoke about the importance of recognizing how our country has the highest rate of childhood obesity, adult obesity. Our diabetes rate is out of control and growing, and we have increasing rates of mental health and chronic disease that is just, it's the greatest war in America. It's the elephant in the room. And our pharmaceutical companies, now let's just get them even richer because everyone can just take Wegovy and Ozempic and all these weight loss pills rather than changing lifestyle. So who's making more money again? I don't know what you're paying out of pocket if you're doing the weight loss pill. I did it because I eat well and I slowed down and I take time and I dropped 40 pounds. But think about it. This is big money keeping America sick and the pharmaceutical companies rich. Now everyone can just take a pill and drop that 40 pounds. And who's making the money? Who's making the money? You pay it out of pocket for your weight loss pill rather than just go get some healthy groceries, not do drive through, maybe do drive by. So what happened was then I went to Condon, Oregon, a little town in the middle of the wheat fields in rural Eastern Oregon. And I spoke at and Senator Merkley was fantastic, and he had me follow through with his staff, and his staff was fantastic and got me directly to the FDA, and the FDA got back in touch with me directly and said, in the next 2 years, all the labels of unhealthy things will be on the stores. Well, it's 2 years later, and there are no labels, but the issue is that we need a complete revision in the FDA product approval process because we shouldn't be needing to have signs about unhealthy foods, right? Well, then I went to Condon, Oregon, and I spoke at Senator Wyden's town hall about the same concern that I've been scanning at Safeway and Walmart. Now, there are healthy options, which is fantastic, at Safeway and Walmart. And I'm just using them as the example because those are the 2 stores that I shop at. Senator Wyden was great too, had me connect with his staff. Through their staff, I ended up going to Washington, D.C. Talk about walking back. And this is not tied to the Oregon Senate race. This was me now as a citizen. This was me as an American, like trying to navigate how our government works. Like, I'm waving the whistleblower flag. Like, we are killing Americans with toxic foods from children to adults. And I'm waving the whistleblower flag and saying, it's got to stop. It's got to stop. So that's why I need your help. I do a lot of lives. I try and talk about mindfulness and yoga, but now I am asking for your help to share this post, to sign the change.org link, to help get this post out, to share the link in the description in this live. The change.org link for my Make America Healthy Act that I have submitted to Oregon Senator Wyden's office. So the next step was I created Lean Into Keeping Americans Alive and Well. And I went to Washington, D.C. with my presentation, and I met with public policy staff at both Senator Wyden and Senator Merkley's staff. I met with domestic policy and health issues staff at Senator Wyden's office and the legislative correspondent at U.S. Senator Merkley's office. By the way, honor to U.S. Senator Merkley. I watched him on C-SPAN advocating for funds from the OMB to ensure we have enough money for our fires. We are on fire. I say huge prayers locally for friends who are evacuating. We are on fire in this country, and please, Congress, give the funding needed to provide the resources for the firefighters. I went to Washington, D.C., and I brought this proposal, and I took a sample of 20 products that I'm going to actually show you. I typed up the spreadsheet, all from data, all Yucca. I want to attribute Yucca. All the data in this presentation, all the data leaning into keeping Americans alive and well, all the data in this presentation was from the Yucca app. Imagine this, I scanned 20 products, and out of just 20 products, there were 30 hazardous ingredients tied to mental health and chronic disease issues. Harvard University did a study, and cocaine-addicted mice are choosing sugar over cocaine. And we have the FDA approving Red Bull, which has 31 grams of sugar. I'm going to be careful. I got to be careful. What am I going to share? What am I not going to share? Well, I want to be mindful. I'll give you, I'm trying to decide. It's public knowledge. Anyone who goes to the store can download these free apps. So here we go. Can you all see that? If it rates under 50, then the product is tied to chronic disease and mental health. Can you read what it's doing to you? Have a little Alfredo sauce. So unless you scan it, and then there are products that are marketed as healthy that are not healthy. Here, you want to have a little lemon, pepper. Zero sugar doesn't mean it's not toxic. You've got to scan it and see the scientific data. A lot of zero sugar products are completely toxic. So without the scanning, Yucca app, Y-U-K-A, changed my life. My blood is a walking testimony that lifestyle change and scanning products coupled with reading total, I don't do any total sugars more than 6 grams. It's work. Okay. Do you use this? 18 out of 100. And here's one of the things it's doing. Here's the second product of what it's doing to you. And you do you. This is just called consumer education and awareness. I'm not attached to what you personally do. I'm just sharing education. Yucca app. This is all data from the Yucca app. So here we go. If it's under 50, it's tied to chronic disease and mental health. And here's the data, and this is all scientific-based research data that's in the app. And here is what it's doing to you. And I do invite politeness and respect on my platform, and if anyone moves into bullying and harassment, I report it immediately during my lives. Thank you. Diet Coke. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4. This is what it's doing. Let's have some country gravy. 8 out of 100. Remember the measure. If it's 50, this is what it's doing. And remember with your comments that you're showing yourself. You're not hurting me or anybody else. You're just showing your own intelligence. Here we go. This is an educational moment. Okay, so this is just an example. I will show you the one that's amazing. Safeway hickory smoked bacon, 0 out of 100, completely filled with carcinogens. So I took this report to Washington, D.C., which is going to get me to, I typed up all the data on just 20 products. And this is directly from the Yucca app. And this is everything tied to chronic disease and mental health. Diet Coke, Tombstone Pizza, the Alfredo sauce. Here's a second page. Data from Tombstone Pizza, Ghirardelli. Yeah, that's a lot of data. For those of you who are taking this seriously, you could change your life. If you download the Yucca app, it's free. Look at the other apps as well, Olive for seed oils. So back to the story. I brought leaning in to keeping Americans alive and well. I understand our senators are fully busy, and I did meet with their staff in DC. Never heard anything back. So I then, about a year and a half went by and I had no response. And I want to be diplomatic and still say I'm really, really thankful that they invited me. Messages are being held for review, by the way. If you're inappropriate, I have stronger restrictions on, and I do report bullying and harassment. And on my lives on YouTube, I want to be very, very clear that I will block when people are not kind or inappropriate. So I welcome kindness and respect. I have a Master's of Science in Journalism from Columbia University. I ran for District 29 Oregon State Senate in the 2024 general election as a non-affiliated candidate. And as a citizen, I am now strongly advocating for food safety. And I have submitted the Make America Healthy Act to Oregon U.S. Senator Wyden's office, and I'm working closely with their staff. When Harvard University was potentially losing their tax status for fundraising, Harvard University began offering free classes. They still have an amazing array of free classes. So last summer, I took and successfully received the certificate from Harvard University, and I took the class, Civic Engagement in a Constitutional Democracy. We the People, Civic Engagement in a Constitutional Democracy. If that class is still offered, it is a deep dive into the Constitution. If you pay the extra $100, you get the deeper curriculum and the certificate. Professor Deborah Allen of Harvard University encouraged all the participants to be civically engaged and take a next action step. So when I wasn't hearing back from my Oregon senators, I said, well, I learned that one of the 25 powers of the president is to sign the executive order. So I thought, well, if you don't ask, you don't get. So I drafted an executive order to revise the FDA product approval process, and I sent it to the White House, and I received a lovely note back. Thank you, happy holidays, or whatever it was, a generic response from me and Melania at the White House. So then I realized, well, I need to consider moving forward outside our government system and keep the door open with my Oregon senators if the right time shows itself. Yeah, take that class, because if you learn about the Constitution through that Harvard University class, it certainly brings us to a lot of questions to today, okay? I took the next step. I am an award-winning filmmaker. I was a reporter, producer, anchor with Texas Associated Press Radio. And I've produced and hosted 2 radio shows, and I ended up publishing my first book called A Long Way Home. And yes, Choose Peace and A Long Way Home are on Amazon. And in my book, I talk about food advocacy. I talk about the need to revise our FDA product approval process. So then, this was amazing. I published my book March 26th. On March 30th, Oregon U.S. Senator Wyden happened to be a mile away from my home at the Pendleton High School and had a town hall, and I felt like Willy Wonka of the chocolate, I'm focusing on food. So let's bring it back to the topic that I'm talking about. So I got the winning ticket. I stood up, I spoke. Senator Wyden knows who I am. I went down to see him after I spoke about that I had gone to Washington, D.C., that I brought the presentation showing the toxic ingredients and the scientific-based research data from the UCAP. And he was very gracious. And he said, can you please resubmit your report to Andrew Cutler, who was great. I resubmitted it. He had just opened a new office at Blue Mountain Community College. So I resubmitted the report and I heard back from staff. So I'm working with Nicole from U.S. Senator Wyden's office, and I'm very, very, very thankful. And I let her know today that that I was going live today. I've been very proactive in my communication with Oregon Senator Wyden's office. They do know that I'm launching mychange.org. I've released a press release, and I am here with you right now. This is a call to action. I'm asking you all to consider signing the petition that's in the description in this post, and to please share this. Let's get over 100,000 signatures. I can't do this one alone. I share a lot. I've been doing social a lot to grow global community, to bring some sense of hope or inspiration. If you are one of my subscribers, I thank you so much. I'm asking for your help. I'm asking for a call to action to sign the petition. I submitted the Make America Healthy Act, and I'm going to read the press release. Actually, I'm going to read you the act itself. So I am looking at my laptop here. So what I wanted to make sure that I did was I wanted to make sure that I was writing an act, legislation that will not cost our American taxpayers $1. This is not an act that's asking for any congressional appropriation. This is an act that's putting the fiscal burden back on the companies who make all of our consumer products, from toothpaste to food to shampoo to sun lotion, anything that's sold on our shelves. It is giving companies 2 years. Chobani, when they had a low rating, they took 2 years. They re-engineered their ingredients and they got out the disodium phosphate. My call for action is that for all consumer companies to have 2 years to remove all hazardous ingredients tied to chronic disease and mental health, and to revise the FDA product approval process. I have become a total geek. I don't eat out, I eat home, and I have scanned. I have walked my talk, dropped 40 pounds, dropped my BMI, dropped my A1C, and my blood work itself could be testimony at a Senate committee hearing. So much of our food is tied to asthma. I'm off all my asthma meds. And again, with comments, you're showing yourself. And I will make reports later on bullying and harassment. And remember, you're not hurting me. I'm addressing trolls on my lives. That when you make negative comments, your name is there and everyone's seeing you write it. So name calling, bullying, harassment, there's a button, it's called report harassment. There's a block button later where I can block. I only invite kindness and respect, and I have zero tolerance for bullying, toxic comments. So if you are making them while I'm talking, congratulations, you're showing your low emotional intelligence, and that's on you. You're showing yourself. Like Maya Angelou says, have the courage to believe what people show you, and believe them the first time, because what they're showing you is their character. So for those of you who are listening with kindness and respect, I am talking about something that is killing Americans and keeping our pharmaceutical companies rich. I am taking a risk, and I am asking for a shout out and for help to consider reading closely the petition. That is, the link is in here, sharing this live stream. And I'm going to read you the Make America Healthy Act. This is an act that could transform this country, protect our next 7 generations at no cost to the American taxpayer, and revise the FDA product approval process and give companies 2 years to clean it up. And I know from the front lines, I've been in schools, I've been watching the level of attention. Our kids have the attention span of a 3-second TikTok video. We have a serious crisis in our food that is impacting our entire education system. So here is the Make America Healthy Act. And the intention of this live is what I'm about to read you. The link to the change.org petition, I am hoping to get over 100,000 signatures. It has currently been officially submitted by me to Oregon U.S. Senator Wyden's office. I am proactively working with their staff, and their staff has been very receptive this go around, and I'm very, very thankful. So there's meaningful dialogue happening around this. Section 1. This act may be cited. I don't know if you can see my computer, but I will show you briefly. Hold on, can I flip it? The Make America Healthy Act. If you are in support of this legislation that I've drafted, please, please sign my petition and share this live stream. I'm going to read it out loud. And again, later, I will review all the comments in here and know that you're showing yourself. You are showing yourself, and I ask, and I know enough of you are taking this seriously, and thank you, because I've been receiving other messages. This act may be cited as the Make America Healthy Act. Congress finds that 1, chronic diseases continue to impose significant human and economic costs. Federal agencies possess extensive scientific and toxicological information regarding ingredients used on consumer products. 3, regulatory review should reflect the best available peer-reviewed scientific evidence. And 4, transparent science-based review promotes public confidence while providing regulatory certainty for manufacturers. The purpose. Thank you for those taking this very seriously. The purpose of this act is to strengthen federal ingredient review by utilizing existing scientific evidence. In other words, we're not asking for congressional dollars to do additional research. The research is already there. Improving coordination among federal agencies, modernizing ingredient review standards, and protecting public health while providing reasonable implementation timelines. Interagency scientific review. The Secretary of Health and Human Services shall coordinate with the Food and Drug Administration, National Institutes of Health, Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Environmental Protection Agency, United States Department of Agriculture, Consumer Product Safety Commission, Federal Trade Commission, and other appropriate federal agencies to compile and evaluate existing peer-reviewed scientific evidence. I'm going to flip it back to me reading it. You can also message me. I can email you a copy, and it is also in the petition. This is serious. We are in a serious crisis in America with growing obesity, growing diabetes, growing mental health. And the Make America Healthy Act puts no imposition on the American taxpayer and puts full fiscal burden and responsibility on the consumer companies to re-engineer their ingredients and get it out. Get it off the shelves. Go look at Johnson & Johnson baby lotion and ask what you're putting on the babies. Start getting smart. The apps are here now. Start scanning the barcodes. The education's here. Olive for seed oil, Yucca, Bobby Farish, EWG, life-changing. So I'm going to continue this. Existing federal research shall be used whenever practical before duplicative studies are commissioned. Section 5, and if you are staying with me, thank you very much. I'm actually reading the Make America Healthy Act that I have officially submitted to Oregon Senator Wyden. Section 5, updated ingredient review standards. Not later than 180 days after enactment, the Commissioner of Food and Drugs shall review and revise, consistent with existing law, ingredient review protocols to reflect current scientific knowledge regarding long-term human health risks, including cancer, endocrine disruption, reproductive harm, neurodevelopment disorders, immune dysfunction, and metabolic disease. Section 6. I need to take a breath into this. We are at a tipping point in this country. We are at an unhealthy tipping point with growing diabetes, childhood obesity and diabetes, adult obesity and diabetes, chronic health. How many of these foods are tied to asthma and cancer, mental health issues, ADHD? Oh yeah. And now we can just take a weight loss pill and let's hand another check to the pharmacy companies, right? Pharmaceuticals. Section 6, National Hazardous Ingredient List. I'm going to read this again. Not later than 1 year after enactment, the Secretary shall publish a National Hazardous Ingredient List identifying ingredients that warrant regulatory action based upon existing scientific evidence and applicable law. The list shall be periodically reviewed and updated as scientific knowledge evolves. What is so important about this act that I've submitted to U.S. Senator Wyden's office is that we're not asking for American taxpayer dollars or congressional appropriations. The scientific-based research evidence is already there. Go download the Yuka, Y-U-K app, K-A app. It looks like a carrot. It's free. There's also Olive and EWG. All the scientific-based research is already done. We don't need to be paying for more research out of American taxpayer dollars. Guess what? This act is free and would get the off the shelves without me saying a bad word. It would reduce long-term health care for all Americans. It would revise the FDA product approval process so we don't have to use these apps. I shouldn't have to go valuable. I shouldn't have to spend 30 hours that I've spent at Walmart and Safeway scanning food products. Do you think we should have to scan our products to see what it is we're putting in us? And let me tell you, once you start scanning and you realize what you're putting in you, you do you. But it's important to have awareness. So at least you make that decision with awareness and education. Otherwise, it's just called ignorance. So consumer awareness and education's there through EWG, Bobby Farish, Yuka, and seed oils through Olive. Like these companies making these apps, oh, they're onto it. Americans are waking up. I have friends scanning all over the place now. I go to Walmart and I run into friends scanning because they've seen me talking about it. It's serious. Houston, we have a problem. What are you paying for your health care? What are you paying for your meds? What are you paying for your health insurance? Well, if you don't have health insurance, you're paying for your meds. Are you paying $250 a month because you want the weight loss pill rather than just eating clean? Everything's just a fast fix, and in that fast fix, the pharmaceutical companies are making their way to the bank, and America's getting heavier. Does weight just keep coming on? You keep getting heavier? Because that's what was happening to me. Once I hit 177, I'm like, whoa. It's food. It's what's in the food. I walked my talk. I'm 137, and I didn't take a pill to lose my weight. I'm on 0 antibiotics. No meds. No meds. Section 7, implementation. I'm coming back to the Make America Healthy Act. Thank you so much. Thank you for those of you who have been kindful and respectful. I see you. For those who have not, you're just showing yourself. Section 7, implementation. Manufacturers of covered federally regulated consumer products shall have 2 years. That's it, 2 years. Chobani did it in 2 years. They got out disodium phosphate. All companies should pull it together in 2 years. This is the Make America Healthy Act that I have submitted for presentation, hopefully. That's why I need you all to please sign the petition in the description and share this live. And if you're an Oregonian, please call Senator Wyden's office and put in a good word for the Make America Healthy Act. His office knows what it is because I'm working with them. Compliance costs shall remain the responsibility of manufacturers. This is why this is so important. The way I drafted this Make America Healthy Act, we're not asking for congressional appropriations because why should American taxpayers pay for getting bad poisons off of our shelves? That should be the burden of the companies that are creating the consumer products. Section 8, we're almost done. Food safety standards for federally distributed foods. By the way, do you get commodities, food distribution on Indian reservations? Do you get food from Capco that's delivered to Salvation Army and out into communities? And guess what? I went and delivered food for Salvation Army, and they were handing out expired apples, right? So not only is toxic foods an issue, getting out expired foods to communities across America, including Indian reservations and other communities that are getting USDA expired foods, not okay. Dehumanizing. Absolutely dehumanizing. It's unreal. It's really unreal. Here we go, Section 8. The Secretary of Agriculture shall ensure that all foods purchased, stored, and distributed through federally funded nutrition assistance programs, including the Food Distribution Program on Indian Reservations, which is FDPIR, comply with applicable federal food safety standards. B, the United States Department of Agriculture may not knowingly purchase, distribute, or authorize the distribution of foods that have exceeded a manufacturer designated use by or expiration date, or that otherwise fail to meet applicable federal food safety requirements through FDPIR, which is Food Distribution Program on Indian Reservations, or any other federally administered food distribution program serving communities within the United States. Like really? Let's be distributing expired foods? Not only do we have a hazardous and toxic food issue, but to communities who need well-nourished foods, who can't afford their foods, are getting expired foods. And where are those expired foods coming from? The USDA. Oh, it's shocking, right? So recipients of federally distributed foods, including tribal nations participating in FDPIR, shall receive foods that meet the same federal health and safety standards applicable to foods distributed through other federal nutrition assistance programs. Uh-oh. Okay, I'm getting there. We're almost there. D. And you can pause and come back later, but please consider signing the petition and sharing and reposting this live. This is about the Make America Healthy Act that I've submitted to Oregon U.S. Senator Wyden's office. I'm proactively working with their staff. They know that I'm coming live today. I notified them that I sent out a press release, and I notified them that I have launched the change.org petition. Help me, let's get to over 100,000 signatures. Let's say enough is enough. Is this the greatest war in America, the greatest elephant in the room about keeping Americans sick and the pharmaceutical companies making it? I'm over it. I'm 56, and it was only a couple years ago that my light bulb went on and I got it. That I got what's really happening. And you deserve to have consumer products that you shouldn't have to go scan or see hazardous labels. It should all just be okay. It should all just be okay. Reports to Congress. Section 9, the Secretary shall periodically submit reports to the appropriate committees of Congress describing implementation progress, regulatory actions, compliance status, and recommendations for any additional statutory authority deemed necessary. And for those of you wondering, I have a Master of Science in Journalism from Columbia University. Someone was asking about my credentials, and I helped raise with teams and myself over $9.5 million in federal, state, and private funds on the Umatilla Indian Reservation when I was the education grant writer. But I care deeply. I won the National Indian Health Board Award for local area impact. I care deeply about wellness. My company's called Wellness Wave LLC. I care deeply to know that the next 7 generations have a fundamental human right to be purchasing consumer products that are not tied to chronic disease and mental health issues. Section 10, Rule of Construction. Nothing in this act shall be construed to impair existing statutory authority of federal agencies or to preempt state or local laws that provide equal or greater public health protections unless expressly provided by federal law. Section 11, Budgetary Effect. This act shall be implemented using existing appropriations. Shouldn't need any appropriations because all the scientific-based research data is already been done on all the consumer products that are on the shelves. That's what's even more shocking. When you get into the Yuka app, YUKA or EWG, the link is there for the scientific-based research data. So all the data is already there. You can please get in touch with Oregon Senator Wyden's office about the Make America Healthy Act. Please sign the petition. That's what's going to give me the legs to stand on to keep advocating, is the petition and the description. I need your help. This is a call to action. Effective date, this act shall take effect on the date of enactment. So what I'm hoping is that Senator Wyden will consider, that's it, will consider submitting the Make America Healthy Act. I really thank you. I thank you if you've taken a moment to hear me. I thank you if you consider taking a moment to get some garbage bags and go scan in your house. Remember, if you scan with Yuka, shampoo, toothpaste, sun lotion, food, if it rates under 50, it is tied to chronic disease and mental health. You do you. But once I started scanning, 30 hours. Now, here's the good news. I want to give Safeway and Walmart credit. I shop there all the time, and I've taken the time to find what the healthy choices are. So I want to give a huge shout out that the healthy choices are absolutely there. It's a lot of work. And thank you for listening. And please consider signing the petition in support of the Make America Healthy Act, which I've submitted to U.S. Senator Wyden's office here in Oregon. If you're watching from other places in America, please reach out to your local elected officials and ask them to encourage Senator Wyden to propose this legislation to Congress. And let's make America healthy, revise the FDA product approval process, not use American taxpayer dollars, and put the full fiscal responsibility on the companies making consumer products to redo their ingredients and get it out. Get out the hazardous ingredients tied to chronic disease and mental health. Thank you so much. Please consider subscribing to my channel. Please consider signing the petition in the description. I launched the change.org today. Please consider signing it, sharing it. I can't do this alone. I can't do this alone. I'm hoping we can get over 100,000 signatures from Americans across the country for the Make America Healthy Act. Please join me. It's rare that I ask for help, and this is a call to action. Please consider resharing this post. Please consider signing the link in the description, and please consider sharing the change.org link to support the petition for the Make America Healthy Act. Goodbye, everyone. And remember, I want to close too, that when you're inappropriate on anybody's lives, you're showing yourself. To those who've been respectful and thoughtful, I see you. I watch everything. To those who have been possibly rude and inappropriate, I report bullying and harassment at the end of the live. And when you go onto people's lives, I invite you, especially if you're my subscriber or you come onto my lives, and I'll be doing more and more lives, I invite kindness in a world where there's already so much toxicity. Not here. But remember, if you're showing yourself here with toxicity, it's your name on the screen. It's your words showing up. You're not impacting me. You're showing the truth of who you are. May we rise to a higher vibration. Please reshare this post. Please consider signing the petition. This is a call to action for the Make America Healthy Act. Thank you. May we rise up in humanity. Bye.